Hi, it's Simon from Composing Academy, and today I'm going to show you how to write some Christmas music just like this in 7 easy steps. So one of the most characteristic elements of Christmas music is the instrumentation. Sleigh bells, tubular bells, and mark trees instantly help to give the festive feel. So start by loading these instruments into your DAW. In Spitfire Audio's free labs range, there is an awesome product simply called Christmas, which gives you all of these instruments and more in one convenient download. I've also gone ahead and added most of the instruments found in a typical orchestra, including strings, brass, and percussion, along with some woodwind and choir sounds as well. Start by choosing a key which you are comfortable writing in. I've decided to write in the key of F major, so I'm going to begin by listing all of the chords in that chosen key. Next, for the introduction, choose a couple of chords that you can repeat. I've chosen chord 1, F major, and chord 3, A minor, which you'll find are used frequently in the scores to Christmas movies, such as The Polar Express and Elf. I'm going to start with a soft and delicate feel, which will give the music room to grow and develop as the piece progresses. So with my 2 chords of F major and A minor playing twice, I'm going to orchestrate this for a female choir, some delicate high strings, a celeste, and a mark tree. Next, it's time to write the first A section material. I tend to start by finding a suitable chord progression first, before adding a melody over the top. So referring back to the earlier list of chords, aim to limit yourself to just using the chords that are found in your chosen key for now. This should give you the greatest chance of finding chords which work well together. So here I've started with F major, followed by A minor or chord 3, the same as the introduction. I then liked how B flat major or chord 4 sounded, before then returning back to F major or chord 1. The progression then felt like it needed to move to a contrasting minor feel, so I then tried moving to D minor via a C major over E, or C major in first inversion chord, followed by A minor again. I then tried a B flat major, before landing on a C suspended 4 chord, resolving to C major or chord 5, the dominant, to finish. As you can hear, all of my chords are being played on the celeste, but I'm also going to add some violins, playing in a higher register, again playing only the notes found in each chord. Instead of the celeste and strings, an alternative could be to just use a simple long strings ensemble patch to outline the chords. For your own progression, aim to come up with something that lasts for 8 bars. If you need inspiration, you could start by trying to find a suitable 4-chord progression, before extending it to 8 bars. Check out my 10 cinematic chord progressions video, found at the link above, if you need some ideas. If you're comfortable with using inversions and suspensions, try to include 1 or 2 of these devices for some variation as well, as I've done here. Next, let's have a go at writing the actual melody. Start by coming up with a 2-bar motive, which will be the initial building block of your melody. Begin by mostly using only notes which are found in each chord. Although I've decided to have a note lead into the first bar of the tune, out of the 4 notes in bars 5 and 6, 3 of them belong to the chords of F major and A minor, with only the G in bar 5 not belonging to one of those chords. For my next 2 chords, again I'm using mostly notes which are found in the chords of B flat major and F major. Out of the 5 notes in these 2 bars, again only one doesn't belong to the 2 chords, the E in bar 7. This second phrase almost sounds like an answer to the musical question created in the first 2 bars. For the first 2 bars of the second half of the melody, I've started by using the same rhythm from the original motive in bar 5 to help keep some continuity. I've also made sure to give the melody a sense of contour, with the climax or highest note of the melody, the high C, occurring during bar 10. The melody contains a mixture of movement by steps, consecutive notes which are next to each other, along with leaps or jumps, a gap of a third or more between notes. Moving by step tends to help make a melody memorable, while the unpredictable nature of leaps helps to keep a melody unique. So aim to use both for a memorable yet unique melody. So now you've got your melody, think about which instrument you want to play it. I've chosen a piano, where I've layered 2 sounds together for more definition. The Malmsjo piano by Artivista and the cinematic piano from Keyscape. You of course could choose any instrument, such as a solo woodwind like the flute or oboe, or even a solo brass instrument. I've also added a harp glissando, some lower strings, a mark tree and a suspended cymbal roll at the end here, helping to transition into the next section. To help cement the melody in the listener's mind, it's often a good idea to immediately repeat the melody, but with some added form of development for good measure. Development can come in the form of changing or expanding the orchestration, as I've done here, where the melody is now shared between the French horn for the first 4 bars and then the oboe for the last half. I've also thickened the accompaniment texture, with the long strings now playing the chords and the addition of the tubular bells playing the root note of each chord, to help add to the Christmas vibe. To help sustain the listener's interest, now is probably the right time to introduce some contrast in the form of a B section. This will help to avoid too much repetition and can also help to increase the dramatic energy of the music as well. I want to increase the Christmas energy and feel, so I've decided that this is where the obligatory sleigh bells will enter. I'm actually going to tag them onto the end of the previous A section to help lead into the new B section. Next, I have the tubular bells and choir singing this descending pattern, with a figure similar to church bell patterns. I've also decided to use a simple repeating staccato string ostinato, helping further to increase the energy and intensity as well. The B section is also where you can introduce a secondary melody or theme if you so wish. Here I have this faster descending melodic pattern, played first in the piano and glockenspiel, and then by the trumpets and horns, before being answered by the ominous low brass and timpani notes. Don't be afraid to write something that contrasts greatly with your A section material. You can hear the A and B sections are different in almost every way. Gone is the calm and almost fragile melody, replaced with a more intense and energetic feel. My aim for the next section is to try to combine the original melody from the A section with the energy of the contrasting B section, in turn helping to create a musical climax for the listener. So here I've started by copying the original melody, giving it this time to the violins, celeste and piano. The choir is also then reintroduced, playing the same chord progression from the A section as well. One trick I like to do is to try to keep at least one element from the previous section going into a new section, in order to help keep a sense of continuity. With this in mind, I've continued the 8th note sleigh bell pattern, which we first hear in the B section. Further energy is created by giving the violas a simple repeating 8th note pattern, playing notes from each chord, along with these arpeggios in the cellos. I've also added some tubular bells and other percussion, along with the basses and a synth bass patch, for a boost to the low end. I feel I can get away with one more rendition of the main melody before risking the audience losing interest. So finally, I'm going to repeat the melody one more time with much of the same orchestration from the previous 8 bars. To further increase the musical intensity in preparation for the climax, I'm going to add some further development through the thickening of the orchestration. One of the most simple ways of achieving this is to have the violins split into octaves, with the first violins playing an octave higher than the second violins. Another way to add more intensity is to add a counter melody, which I have here played by the French horns. For further orchestrational development, I've also thickened the texture with the trombones and this slow brass patch, together playing the chords with open voicings. In addition, I've also reintroduced the short string pattern from the B section, although this time with the notes changing to outline each chord, again in an effort to create further continuity between the B and A sections. Finally, I've added the flute and women's choir to the violin melody as well, helping to give the melody even more presence over the brass. So everything has been building throughout the piece, leading up to these last 2 bars, where I've extended the C suspended 4 chord to last a whole bar, before resolving to C major for another bar. So now you've heard each section, let's take a listen through to the whole track. So there's a step-by-step process to writing some Christmas music. Remember, you can go a long way to achieving the Christmas feel just with the instrumentation that you use. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more composing tutorials, tips and tricks. Happy Christmas!